welcome back to another edition of Level Up Your Game. My name is Rip and I'm joined by MYK and Bobino. This time around we're actually teamed up with Namco Bandai Games of America thanks to Filthy Rich. And we're going to show you Tekken Tag Tournament 2. They've got us a brand new build of the game. It's got the DLC characters in there, so there's going to be a lot of new stuff that we're going to be able to show you veterans of the game. But in this introductory episode, we're actually going to try to take some small steps, hold your hand a little bit, and walk you through the basic flow of a match in Tekken. So kick back, relax, and get ready to level up your game.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is Tekken notations. We have 5 buttons in Tekken. So what do the buttons do? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1 is going to be left punch, 2 for right punch, 3 for left kick, 4 for right kick, and 5 is going to be your brand new tag button. That wasn't in Tekken for a while since tag 1, but it's going to be useful in combos, tag assaults, all this crazy stuff that we're going to get to later on. Next thing we're going to talk to you about is how to block in this game. We have 2 different kind of ways to block. We have standing. There is a neutral guard in this game where you don't have to press anything to block. This won't guard any low attacks, and it's just like guarding while holding back. But generally in this game you want to be holding back whenever you want to guard. This is going to guard high and mid attacks, but lows you're going to be susceptible to. So that's why you hold down back to guard the lows, and it'll also avoid high attacks. But what is that good for? We have mid attacks. That's going to make you get hit by when you're ducking. So we have 3 different hit ranges that I just talked about. We have highs, mids, and lows. Every character has their own high, mids, and lows. This is why you have to go through your own character's move list to understand what moves do what.
Yeah, there's actually a 4th hit range as well with special mids.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Special mids are kind of a special case, hence the name special mid. They're kind of not, they're not truly a mid, they're not truly a low either.
Yeah, you can block them standing or ducking.
Yes, that's correct. And you could also crush them, low carry them, all that stuff we'll get to as well. Next thing I want to talk about is basic movement. So in Tekken, when you're holding forward, you're going to be walking forward, holding back, you're going to be walking back. You could also do a faster version of this by dashing, by pressing forward, forward, or back, back. This is all included into Fight Lab, and then it also teaches you how to sidestep as well. Next thing we're going to go to is sidestep, and it's going to be done by tapping up the neutral or down in neutral. Neutral just basically means let go of the stick or let go of the controller and let the controller go back to wherever it was. Alright, so tap up, tap down to get a sidestep in whichever direction you want to get. And next thing we have is a sidewalk. Sidewalk, you're basically tapping and then holding it in that same direction that you want to go, and then your character is going to be walking in that direction. And also we also have running in this game by pressing forward from a distance. It's just like dashing, but you have to hold a second forward. Up close you won't be running, but you know, that's basically how it is. And then in Fight Lab, there's other stuff that's more complicated and more advanced. We have throw breaking. They also teach you how to combo, go through an obstacle course, all this other stuff as well. But
it's pretty fun training mode,
yeah,
to learn the basics of the game.
And you get points, you get rewarded, you feel like you're learning the game, and
you actually are learning the game.
Yeah, it teaches you a lot about the game, so that's pretty much about it.
Cool. Alrighty, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how Tekken is different than other fighting games. One of the most important things to learn when learning this game is how to safely backdash. Most games, the backdash is unsafe. And so in Tekken, there's also an unsafe backdash if you do back neutral. And there's basically a little recovery period at the end of it. But if you do hold back, it'll actually be safe throughout the entire backdash animation. So Bob, go ahead and do a back neutral, and we'll show Mike hitting you with Angel. So as you can see, that backdash is basically punishable because he's not holding back on the second tap. So this time do hold back, and Mike's try the same attack. There you go. And you saw he blocked right away, and it's basically a safe backdash in the game. So this allows you to move back safely without getting hit. Another thing that makes Tekken unique is that the throw game is actually seeable. You can actually see and react to all the mix-up grabs in the game. So let's just see you guys throwing out a 1 grab and a 2 grab and a 1+2 grab, which we'll explain later, and show that they are reactable. There's a 1 break. There is a 2 break. And there's a 1+2 break. So as you can see, MYK there was reacting to all of Bob's throws and breaking them in time. Unlike other fighting games that have meter management, there really isn't a meter in Tekken. However, there is basically something you can control, which is the rage and netsu system. So we're going to talk about this later in later episodes, but if you tag assault someone, you're basically going to give them rage. So let's show them an example of that. And tag assault, when you just start a combat, your tag teammate comes in, and on the first hit you saw that life bar start flashing, practice mode took it off, but you know, basically showing that they had rage mode on for that time. So rage mode is kind of the meter management of this game, managing the rage mode and the tag crash. So going on, there's also no guard damage in this game. So if you're a big turtle, you know, since throws are seeable and reactable, you can just sit there and block all day. You know, quick lows are kind of what's harder to see in Tekken, and basically what you're going to get hit by if you're just standing and blocking. If you're crouching and blocking, you're going to get caught by a lot of launching mids maybe. So crouching in this game is generally a bad idea. Unlike, you know, other 2D games where you crouch block and most hits are not overheads, you know, in this game, crouching and blocking is generally a bad idea. Yeah. You want to be standing and blocking most of the time. Exactly. Now, when people watch Tekken matches, they don't really understand what's going on. And basically, it's because there's not really any special moves going on. You know, you don't really see that level.
No obvious obstacle you have to get over.
Yeah, exactly. Like so generally what happens is you see people getting hit and then something happens afterwards. And the way this works is when somebody gets hit by someone else, the person who attacked them is at an advantage. And it's the defensive player's option to either block the next attack or to sidestep or backdash out of the way. So here we're going to show MYK is going to do some jabs. He's going to hit Bob's Michelle. And then Bob's going to try and retaliate with the jab, but you see he gets launched there by MYK twin pistons because MYK had advantage. Now Bob's option, instead of just attacking right away, could be to just block. And he could block that option, or he could just sidestep like that. So as you can see, we saw him sidestep and now we saw him block as well. So this is kind of the little mind game that goes on in Tekken whenever somebody gets hit. So every single time there's impact, this is what the minds of the players are going through.
Do I move, do I block, or do I crush?
Right.
Which we'll get to later on as well.
Yeah, so before we get to that though, let's have Bob talk a little bit about the full crouch and while standing attacks in Tekken and maybe a little bit about a counter system as well.
Alright, so all characters have a generic full crouch move, and you get to full crouch by holding down. So you have your 1, 2, 3, and 4. Certain characters like Ancient Ogre have moves out of the full crouch, such as holding down 3, 3, 3, or 3, 3, neutral 3, which is a launcher. All characters have wall standing moves, but these are unique to each character. And the way it works is you just, while holding down, you just put the controller back into its neutral position, and while it's going to neutral, you push the button, such as wall standing 2, wall standing 1, wall standing 3, and wall standing 4.
So basically, in the animation of when your character is crouching to standing is when you input the button.
Right. So it's kind of like in between this motion is when you want. That's when you're wall standing.
Exactly.
So it's exactly what's happening on the screen. So also in this game, there's a thing called counter hits, and certain moves will grant you special properties when you land a counter hit. So for example, with Ancient Ogre.
Let's show a regular hit first.
So this is how it is when I just do it by itself. It just kind of trips them, but they're still standing. But on counter hit, it'll grant a combo opportunity.
Yeah, and a counter hit is basically
when your move beats your opponent's move.
Right. So while they're in an attack state,
in the middle of their animation, your move beats their move. Just because it was faster.
Right.
Okay.
But they have to be attacking because you're countering their move, which so that's what gives you that.
Therefore, it's called a
counter hit. Yeah.
One more example. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's move on to Bob. Let's talk about the basic Yomi of the Tekken match. Like I'm talking the lowest level Yomi. You know, like just mixing up lows and mids. You know, let's introduce these people to what a basic mind game.
Now we're going to talk about Yomi, aka mind games, at its most basic level. So in Tekken, you have your highs, your mids, your lows, and your throws.
Which are generally high.
Generally high. So the point of using all these tools is to confuse your opponent to break down their defense. So generally with mids are a good way because you can mix them up with your lows because your opponent either has a stand or duck based on what you're doing.
This is like mix up 101.
Right, this is the most basic mix up in the game.
So with Ancient Ogre, you can go for his down forward 1, 2, and then you can go for a low. And you just kind of mix them up. You want to force your opponent to duck.
Right.
If you can get him to duck, then that's when you can go for his hop kick and go for a combo.
Yeah, so basically what he's doing there is he's using a mid that gives him the most reward when he's ducking, when he finally conditioned him to finally duck.
Yeah, because that mid isn't a lot of damage. They're like, I can risk ducking for this low here.
Maybe he's gonna go for the low again, and then that low might be a little risky. You know, I can launch him if he does that. So maybe I'll risk a duck. Oh no, I just got hit to the face. You know.
Exactly.
Right. So how else can you pressure someone to duck?
One thing you can do is when you use your highs, your lows, and your throws in order to add some pressure, because highs generally are your strings, such as 1-2 or 1-1 with Ancient Ogre, and you can mix those in with throws.
Yeah, and like that, you're just like pestering them with like 1-2s all day. You know, you just feel like, oh man, duck already. You know, and then finally they're gonna eventually duck, try to go for a while standing launcher or something.
And basically, also if their defense is bad and the throw defense specifically, then they're gonna want to duck the throws a lot too, right?
True.
Yeah, so if you notice, so
these are basically ways to make people duck.
Right. So you just want to, because again, ducking leads to mid moves, which equals
a lot of damage.
Equals a lot of damage with say with your launcher or other mid moves.
Yeah, and this all relates back to what we were talking about earlier about the flow of a Tekken match, where when somebody gets hit by an attack, they should generally either block or try to evade you. So that kind of allows you to do one hit and follow up with another one.
Right. So, if you land with like a mid move and they're going to just try to sit there and block the next attack, you can go for a throw instead. And again, just try and mix up your attacks so they keep the opponent guessing, so you can get into their defense and then go for the win. Cool.
So let's move on then to some intermediate Yomi, Mike, and let's just talk a little bit about how we kind of countered this basic Yomi by either low pairing or sidestepping, sidewalking, or even crushing this basic low mid kind of pressure tools that people generally start with.
All right, so the next level of Yomi is intermediate Yomi. So the next thing we're gonna get, yes, I'm serious. So the next thing we're gonna get to is how do you do a low parry. Low parries are going to sweep away any special mid attacks or low attacks, and then it'll put them in a juggle stage so you can get a small combo after it as well.
Right, so like we saw Bob doing down forward 1 and low kicks, and he was mixing that up on his opponent earlier. So, if you have someone doing this to you, you could use a low parry maybe to counter that low and get a little combo.
So let's say Bob was pestering me with down forward 1 and down 4. Instead of taking the chip off the down 4, you could just go for the low parry and go for a small combo or a big combo if there's a wall or what have you. So there's a small combo just for a small example, and then sometimes, he's not always going to go for the down 4.
Right, what if he's doing down forward 1, down forward 1?
Yeah, he's going to keep pestering you with the mid. He's not even going to make you want to duck anymore. I'm like, I'm not going to take this anymore. Down forward 1, I'm going to try to backdash it and still catches me, so what can I do? We talked about it earlier. We have sidestep and sidewalking. This is what they're basically useful for. And then right there you see
punish!
And the game tells you in practice mode, you gotta punish!
So, that's pretty cool. New addition to practice mode, very nice.
Okay, so it shows you how to low parry lows and special mids, and you could also create whiffs by sidestepping and sidewalking as well to create opportunities to get damage. But there's also another way to get damage in this game, and it's introduced by the crush system, which was first implemented in the Tekken 5 series. And earlier we saw a pattern, an attack pattern that Bob was using, down forward 1, down 4. Maybe he's been using this pattern all game on me, and I've seen this plenty of times, and I'm like, I know exactly what you're going to do. And instead of going for the small damage on the low parry, I want to go for the big crush move and get the big damage off the huge crushing launcher. Right. So there's basically 2 types of crush moves in this game. Right now you saw that he did a low and then Angel flew over it with a jumping kick. So since she's jumping in the air, and then avoiding the low, we call that a low crush.
Right, because she crushes that low by jumping in.
Art crush, alright? So the next thing we're going to talk about is a high crush. Showed you with Angel how to low crush. Let's show you with Kuni and Ogre. And Bob's going to try to high crush me, which means he's going to go under my high attack, crushing my high. So I'm getting basically a high crush.
That's the phone he's putting on that pressure. There you go. Bob with the high crush, gets a combo afterward. Very nice.
This is just like ducking. This is just like we were talking about earlier. It's like where you're pestering him with 1-2s, and he's like not gonna take it anymore. I know this is gonna avoid the high, and another way to high crush is just ducking and going for a while standing move after recovery is done. But that's not really a crush move.
Or the Ancient Ogre, you can go for the low 3s if you're already crouching.
Yeah, that's another crush move because no matter what, it'll still crush the highs. All right.
Alright, so that about wraps up intermediate Yomi. Let's go ahead and talk about kind of the more advanced Yomi, where we can kind of create whiffs with using our movement to get a launcher, and then also talk a little bit about the Okizeme, which is basically the ground game, dealing with an opponent that's grounded, and how we can mix them up in that state to get additional damage.
Yeah, you'll notice that certain attacks in this game have knockdown properties, knocks them down in all different positions, throws usually knock down too, and all this kind of stuff will lead up to a ground game for Okizeme.
Yeah, so let's just show them a couple examples. And we'll start off with just using your movement and getting a whip punish basically for a launcher, which we kind of showed you with the side step, but let's try and show them something off a backdash this time to bait someone to attack. So like say you're coming in and out and then they're going to throw something out just because they want to hit you when you're coming in at them. So Bob, go ahead and throw out like a down forward one he's coming into you. And as soon as he sees you whip it, he's going to get your launcher basically if he's facing his range, right? There you go. See, so that's really advanced. You're actually using your backdash canceling and your forward dash timing to bait your opponent to throw an attack so that you can get a launcher basically. Yeah, not very easy to do, but that's why it's called Advanced Yomi. Yeah. And finally, the next thing we're going to talk about for Advanced Yomi is Okizeme.
Which is basically the ground technique.
Right, so you're going to want to mix up your opponent's different ways that he can get up off the ground to basically get additional damage. So here we're going to show Ogre is going to use his 2-grab, Ancient Ogre, and afterwards, if Kunin makes a back rolls, Ancient Ogre is actually going to be able to pick her up by using his 3-2 string. Nice. Full combo.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are kind of the more advanced Yomi layers. Basically we'll teach you more about the movement tools as we progress through the series, but we just want to give you a taste of what the basics flow of Tekken matches are and show you kind of what's going on in the players' minds. So with that said, this is a tag game, so we're just going to show you a little bit about the tag system, because even though like there you just hear a regular tag, it's a little bit different whether you're on the ground or whether you're at a wall as well. So this is tagging in the open, and Bob, go ahead and knock him down. Kunin with a jump and Bob, yep. And now if Bob would hit tag here, or if Mike would hit tag here, you'd see that she would actually get up off the ground, run out, and you would see the next character run in. There it is again, tagging off the ground. And if they would go up to a wall, you'll see it's a little bit different to tag at a wall, because they actually jump in from the sky. So that looks a little bit safer, because it's a little bit quicker. But all tags are generally punishable in this game. There is no tag canceling that was available in Tekken Tag 1, so you're going to have to keep that in mind as well. So that about wraps up everything that we wanted to cover in this episode as far as the introduction goes. As we progress through the series, we're going to show you, homing moves, all about the combo system.
Tag crashes, tag assaults, all
tons of stuff. But before we leave, we're going to leave with this combo exhibition that kind of highlights some of the stuff we're showing you here and show you some cool new combos with new characters as well. Some cool combos.
Oh!
Wow. Yeah, those new characters are pretty awesome.
Yep.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next time we're going to be covering a little bit more advanced topics, Korean backdashing, how to move around safely, how to get up off the ground safely, and how not to get owned in Tekken. So lots of stuff coming up. Be sure to tune in. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube/levelupyourgame. And that's about it for this episode. So tune in next time to level up your game.